Hello and welcome back to another episode of the Patreon. It feels weird doing this not drunk. I think I've been drunk on last 5.
Yeah,
they've been fucking loose.
We really lent on the old whiskey to get us through the Christmas period and the New Year period.
That's really fucking unhinged one.
It is, yeah.
It's kind of weird doing it. So
yeah, it's true. The Patreon is really the depths of our minds and souls. So adding some whiskey into that really comes out with some stuff. I'm annoyed actually because about our Epstein episode.
Yeah.
Because it dropped. Because I guess did the list drop on the day we did it, or around then? It was pretty fresh news when we did it.
Yeah.
And there was because the whole Stephen Hawking thing, because I hadn't seen that. But then it we finished the podcast and then it became big news. So I feel it deserved a bit more actual diving into. I haven't looked into it since.
Oh, you did because you thought I was making.
Yeah, I wasn't sure.
About the pod,
but there's so much shit now. It's like massive, and I'm like, oh.
Well, I don't know if it is massive. I think it's
pretty big.
I think it's been memed. I think his name was on the list. It was all the stuff we already know, which his name was on the flight logs. Which actually,
it's not already known. But Bill Clinton was there. What are you doing? You can't keep ruffling around with your pants like that.
I got the button zips, which are just...
And that means more reliable than... How did the buttons come undone in this period?
Because I never did them up.
They were always undone.
They just arrived. I didn't realise.
What a horrible answer to that question. How did the buttons come undone? They were never done.
They were never done up.
They were never done up.
What do you mean how big? I'll tell you, the Epstein thing, it's big.
Yeah, I know it's big, but I didn't realize the flight logs. So because there was stuff with Bill Clinton, who's gone on it.
Obviously,
I know he's obviously
chowing down.
I know, but we need to talk about it other than saying he obviously does kids. But there was that, and just with the Hawking thing or whatever. I think the story broke on the day, so it deserved a bit more attention to detail than we gave it.
It'll be disappointing because I bet Stephen Hawking wasn't getting involved. But the reason why he's on it all the time is Epstein, as long with being kind of the goat of child sex trafficking, he was also a huge fan of science, which is quite like an interesting tidbit about him, you know. It's got sort of a charming detail.
It's a funnier one
because he loves science.
There's another one who's named on the flight list is David Copperfield,
the
magician.
Is it David Copperfield?
Yeah.
Is that's not the Charles Dickens book?
Well, that's what I thought.
Why? Have you had this with someone? Or?
No, it's just so annoying. Because I went, isn't that the character?
Peter Copperfield?
No, David Copperfield. Yeah, it's a novel. But hold on. No, he's also a magician. Yeah, so okay. I think that's clearly his stage name.
Named after the Dickens character.
Yeah. So he was also on the list.
Yeah.
So Tim Dillon does amazing. Obviously, Tim Dillon, Jeffrey Epstein files is his fucking mecca. There's no one better. Yeah. It's pointless anyone else doing coverage on Epstein other than Tim Dillon.
Sure.
But his joke is one, they're going to pin it all on Copperfield. It's clear because who's going to be the scapegoat? So it's going to be everyone's going to be. Oh no, Copperfield was there to abuse children. Everyone else was. But then it could be because it could come out as an excuse Clinton's excuse is that he's, flying is expensive, so he would use his friend's plane to get around. It was like, how fucking poor do you think this guy is? And then, Stephen Hawking was there just for the science fair or whatever, and then Copperfield's there just doing this child orgy, just being the entertainment, doing street magic.
What, keeping the kids entertained?
No, keeping the guests entertained. Okay. So Epstein takes pride in his child orgies. He doesn't just provide the children, he provides entertainment with the magicians as well. That's why Copperfield's flown in.
But so I think he organised lots of science fairs and stuff with all the top scientific minds, and that's why Hawkins is often popping over to his thing, just because he's to the
islands. But why would he? Who does a science fair on an island, on a secluded island?
Well, because Epstein's organised it clearly.
But who throws a science fair on a secluded island?
Well, it wouldn't be a fair. It would actually. I don't think it's a fair. It would be like a trade meeting or like a inter-industry meeting of minds, which you would do on an island, maybe.
Yeah, you might do.
That's the kind of thing my dad's,
It's quite succession-y when they go to that.
My dad does events and stuff.
You're going to bring in your dad to suggest that they're not sex stories. Yeah. That's what you're using.
It's B2B. It's business to business,
Or P2B.
Peter to business.
Yeah, no, probably. But there's still a chance.
It's bad to say.
The guy's a human trafficker.
I thought you were about to say the guy's a human being.
Yeah, can we stop talking about it?
In reference to Stephen Hawking saying, of course he had sex with underage girls.
The guy's a human being. Look,
He's
he's
human.
there. There's young women there. What's he going to do?
So is it morally bad that I am desperate for Stephen Hawking to have molested underage girls on the island?
Yes.
That is bad, isn't it?
Because that is an interesting question.
Yeah. Because I would be, if I found out, I would be undeniably happy.
So does your hope? So your hope. There's either in our imagined reality. There's two. There's two potentialities. There's Stephen Hawking did sexually abuse an underage child, or he didn't. So if you're hoping for it, does that mean that if he did, that would be a child who wouldn't have been previously abused, having them been abused?
That's a good philosophical question.
Does that-
I don't think.
does
No, because no matter what, it's sort of like it's like Schrodinger's cat.
Yeah.
The
bring
kid-
this up.
No,
every
but I'm
episode.
just saying the kid's already been abused.
Exactly. Or has it?
Well, you would have to open the box to find out.
Precisely.
So we don't know until we open the box. But there's nothing.
But we're putting a moral dilemma upon your desire.
No, because you can. No, it's about the wishing, isn't it?
Your hope is that,
And that's collateral damage.
You're technically, technically,
I'm not adding it any chance. I'm not aiding and
but
abetting.
you're not. No. Obviously, hoping was never gonna.
Yeah.
Hoping about whether something happened in the past is never gonna actually cause it to happen.
Yeah.
But what you're hoping is that an additional child has been raped.
Are we? Is that making additional when it seems like there's a kind of vague amount of children who have been sexually abused?
But I think, well, to be honest, you're hoping that they got, abused at least one more time. So I think,
guess so.
I think actually, quite obviously, in answer to your question, the answer is yes. It's not great.
Yeah, but that's not why.
Yeah.
That's not the driving force of that is not that.
Intent is irrelevant here. I think
so
intent. I
clearly-
think it actually makes it worse that you want it to because it'll be funny because it'll be funny if Hawking did it.
But you would be pretty excited if you found out.
I'm not under the spotlight here.
Yeah, but
this has got nothing to do with me.
You know. And there's been talk of sex tapes.
What, with SH? Dr. SH?
Well, not with Stephen Hawking's, but
Dr. SH on an ST.
One of the survivors did say that they were recording stuff, and then she quickly reneged it, but she brought into question Richard Branson, Bill Clinton, all that.
There's not just the flight logs. There's the court interview stuff.
Yeah.
Which there's so much in.
Yeah.
And I said I was gonna
We
read
need to do our
over
research on it because
I was gonna have
heavy.
a massive read on it.
Yeah.
But then I got food poisoning. But I there's like the whole interviews in courts because it's so much more candid.
Yeah.
And then they've tried, I don't know, because they leaked, they've been trying to hide him, whatever.
Yeah.
But it's hilarious, it's great because Tim also does this thing. Just watch that episode, by the way, it's brilliant. But he also talks about how it's the mainstream media representation of it or whatever. And just like how they're still calling it like, a conspiracy theory. All this stuff is in like, it's like, you're nuts if you don't believe this stuff is happening.
Yeah, it's like, a stop clock is right twice a day. Yeah.
Horatio Gould, everyone.
Famously. No, you can't say that phrase.
You can't do that phrase
You gotta be
without confidence. Just like,
you gotta be whipping it
clock is like twice a day, is it? Like as a point when you're coming, I was coming in quite hard. And you're like, yeah. Like because a stop clock is right twice a day. Yeah, twice a day.
So Alex Jones was sort of right about all of this. I mean, I'm not saying that justifies it, but it's
but
that's the thing about conspiracy theories.
Oh, another because on one of our Q&A questions was conspiracy theory, what you might not believe in, and this was actually I need to reply to it. But this one was reinvigorated in my conversations, or at least my mind recently. Was the moon landing? It's one that I'm
Kubrick did it.
I'm 60-40 on it.
Which way?
That it happened. But only 60.
Okay.
And I think it's completely fair with that 40.
What, that Kubrick directed the moon landings?
No, not when I didn't mention Kubrick.
Okay, that's the big.
He could have, but no, just in the context. I don't think we should go down too far into the rabbit hole again. But in the context of the technology, when was it? The 60s, 68, 67 or something. Just in the context of the space race in the Cold War. Like, think about the shit that the stuff America has done to win hearts and minds. They've and the different stuff they've done on the geopolitical level.
My big question with all these things is it's like the cover up. You just can't cover that up.
Stuff is being covered up.
Not on that scale and not with that risk. The risk.
You don't need that. That one's an easier one to cover up.
How do you cover that up?
Language. Well, you just
think about the people involved.
You just
Their
need
families.
You just need a cast and a crew.
But NASA.
People have covered up worse
But then
secrets.
think about NASA. Think about the.
People have covered up worse
So I guess
secrets.
the rocket definitely going up. That was all.
Hated that.
Yeah.
But yeah.
the rocket going up. everyone in NASA control.
You can launch a
That's
rocket.
a big.
You can launch a rocket without landing on space.
Yeah. So that, I guess so then everyone in there, do they all in the control center? Would they know?
Yeah, no, because they could be actors. They could be acting. The cover up is like.
So the moon landing's considered probably
would you
the
admit
height.
that they've covered up worse
It's
things?
the height of human achievement, right? And it was it's basically the height of the American achievement and human achievement at the moment. It's the top thing we've done. That's the kind of moment seen as the pinnacle. The idea that if that came out as fake, which there'll be ways of proving if it is, right?
Or actually going to the moon.
If there's a flag,
it doesn't mean that. It doesn't mean we haven't been to the moon subsequently.
But they've never said we've gone to the moon since.
People have gone to the moon.
I don't think they have.
Yeah, they have.
Have they?
Yeah.
I don't think so.
They have.
Because
we had this.
The only reason they went to the moon, that's that famous speech by JFK. Why we go to the moon? We do not go because it is easy. We go because it is difficult.
Yeah.
The reason they went to the moon was just to do it. Because it's incredibly expensive.
But it was also as part of the Cold War. It was a space race.
Yes.
I mean, like,
But there's no reason financially why anyone else would go to the moon.
12 men have walked on the moon.
Time.
People have got, 12 men have walked on the moon. How many times have you gone to the moon? 6 missions, landed humans on the moon.
All Americans?
No. I can't tell. Oh, I can do a list of missions. The thing is, because I think the biggest one would be, surely we've gone to the moon now, right?
Yeah.
But then it would be, I want to know the flag is there. I think again, I'm 64.
I mean, I guess you could stick that on the subsequent missions.
Yeah, that needs to be, it doesn't, why doesn't it just say what fucking, USA, Soviet Union, 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 it's all USA and Soviet Union.
So the Soviets went straight afterwards.
Wait, this doesn't seem to be why does it, there's literally a Wikipedia page that says list of missions to the moon, and there's so many more than it says there are. Yeah, it's also...
But it's like people walking on the moon.
Oh, these are unsuccessful.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's all...
Unsuccessful?
Yeah.
But you said 12 people have walked on the moon.
Yeah. That's what it says.
Is that confirmed?
Yeah. Well, it's Wikipedia, which you'd think this Wikipedia page is legitimate. It says between 19... Wait, hold on. Missions to the moon being conducted by the following nations and organizations: the Soviet Union, United States, Japan, the European Space Agency, China, India, Luxembourg, Israel, Italy, South Korea, the UAE.
No, but these are not touched on the moon.
Yeah, agreed. Statistics. It says here from that page, 6 missions landed humans on the moon.
There's that great Norm Macdonald bit about the fact that 4 men went to the moon and one of them never left the ship. Imagine coming back. How was it? Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's all right.
Yeah. He's looking through the window. Are they golfing?
12. Interesting. 12 people have walked on the moon, according to
to what?
According to the Wikipedia, and all of them
were white men.
Well, yep. Wow.
Disgusting.
Wake up, America. All American. Everyone who's walked on the moon is an American.
Okay. But I've heard that people are talking about going to the moon again. I forgot who. India's landed something on the moon, but not people.
Yeah, India. India's the one that's been doing something.
Yeah.
But all 12 people who have walked on the moon are American men. So we need an Indian girl.
Yeah.
Up there.
It'd be nice.
Yeah, Jesus.
To see if the flag's there.
Yeah,
or the
to
footprint.
go like, there's no fucking flag.
Yeah.
So, because that'll be embarrassing. I reckon, look, it's highly likely, it's highly feasible that there was a space race. First one to the moon is a massive win in communism versus capitalism. Yeah. They think, fuck it, let's fake it. And then eventually they'll get there and they just chuck a flag on there. But it's
a game of spies. I just think the risk is so crazy. It was the biggest thing ever.
This cover up, when you're talking about like it's difficult for it to be covered up. People have come out and said stuff. That's where conspiracy theories come from. And then what do? They say they're crazy. They say they were disgruntled employee. They're whatever.
I get that. I just think it's crazy to say there's a 40% chance that we didn't go to the moon. Just the whole thing around it, just the amount of such a crazy
things
thing
have happened though. They just have crazier things have
Leicester
happened.
winning the league.
Leicester won the Premier League.
Yeah, I guess so.
And they weren't very good at the time.
Yeah, that's pretty mad.
I think 60-40 it's so feasible. It's so feasible.
If you guys know more about it, please comment.
What are you saying?
Well, I'm just saying if there's
obviously.
stuff that
We're on Wikipedia.
stuff I'm missing.
Well, there's a documentary. There's a documentary on it on Netflix, which is funny because our flatmate once came down and just like had never thought about it once. Watched this one documentary and now doesn't believe the moon landing's happened.
A Netflix documentary saying the moon.
I think so. Yeah.
And what's it called? We didn't go to the moon.
No idea. This was like 3 years ago. But no, it's very feasible. I think it's a pretty in the conspiracy theory is one of the more easy ones to believe for me.
Yeah. So I guess this conspiracy theory, Alex Jones has been saying there's been a cabal of celebrities with underage girls for a while, and then this has all come true.
Yeah, what's that fucking place that you went to?
Bohemian Grove.
That's it.
That's also true.
Well, yeah,
and that makes
there
sense.
are videos.
Yeah, that sort of makes sense to me. That's not too outlandish. That like.
Yeah.
If you're rich and kind of like, we need some shit to make us feel.
Well, it's like
feeling powerful and exclusive. It's that sort of stuff. And there's this thing about the owl god Molech. You know about this?
Yeah.
Where from this ancient pagan faith, they had this owl god Molech that apparently you sacrifice children to, and apparently there were statues of Molech on the.
Why do only
Epstein
rich
Island.
people believe in that?
Yeah, well, it's just exclusive, I guess.
Yeah, it's just, but
it's just like it's like, isn't that a bit mad?
It feels a bit like, oh, we're this powerful, we need something mental to believe in.
Yeah,
it's
we just need some mad shit.
They're all like hanging out and they're like, well, I feel like we should be doing something. Let's sacrifice kids to the owl god Molech.
Yeah, but then that also doesn't seem actually that outlandish.
What's wrong with
to
like
me.
Catholicism?
Yeah.
Let's go back on that one.
What
doesn't seem sacrificing children
Not
to the
sacrificing children.
sacrificing children to the owl god Molech doesn't seem that outlandish to you.
It doesn't seem that outlandish to me that if I was trying to, because I think the organizer of Bohemian Grove was probably someone with a lot of ambition who, you know, this is not organized by Ronald Reagan. You know, this was He's like, how am I going to make a setup which is going to attract the most rich and powerful people? I need to give them something that makes them feel incredibly exclusive and powerful.
Yeah.
You know, you hear about people putting masks on and going to this ritual for this owl god, and it's like, why aren't I invited? I need to go see that shit.
Well, it's about transgressing all possible societal norms and laws because you have the power to do so.
Yeah.
And I think the ultimate of that is sacrificing children to the owl god
Molech.
Sacrificing
children seems a bit
So you mean
heavy.
just the owl god Molech is a bit like, come on, there's other gods.
Yeah.
What would be outlandish enough
I think the owl god Molech could be true. I just think the sacrificing kids thing, I just don't believe that. But I think the rest, I'm sure they go... Well, Freemasons, it's all about rituals, chants, you know, which could easily be interpreted as like a secret society. But I think it's just like old guys wanting to hang out. It's like a bridge club. That's the reality of Freemasonry is it's just like rich people playing bridge.
Yeah, well, it's a bit like...
Let's dress up and go humdiddle. You know, I'm desiring a bit of that. I want a little bit of ritualistic
play like cards
stuff.
after. Well, it's a bit like there's in the latter series of House of Cards when Kevin Spacey goes to that retreat and there's like, you know, politicians, businessmen. That's kind of it. Yeah. And they go off and it's just like a retreat in the middle of the woods.
Which is like Bohemian Grove.
And there is it's based on that. There's a weird culty vibe to it. And they do, it's not like, it's mostly about just old dudes hanging out. And there's some chants that happen, but it's almost like a religious ceremony, just one that is kind of unrecognizable to mainstream religion. And then they just kind of spend the rest of the time networking, deciding who's the next president.
But how boring would that be? You're there, you're this incredibly special, exclusive thing, and then you just like have the bread and wine, and it's like Catholic.
No, it's not like that.
But imagine how disappointing that would be.
Yeah. Well, no, because it's a bit like, what it's a bit like? Our private school experience at the Boar's Head Feast.
What's it? Cloud Raymond's Cloud It's all that shit.
Is that?
Yeah.
I think it's, yeah.
And I had a good time.
But that's more about tradition rather than belief.
Yeah. Which I think this is as well. But
that's what I'm saying.
Traditions have to start somewhere.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
So some innovator said, "I'm going to start." It might feel weird now, guys.
Yeah.
But in 1,000 years,
Bezos is going to be doing it.
This is going to be fucking sick.
Yeah.
It wouldn't be 1,000 years for Bezos because I think it was only made like 80 years ago, right?
What the
Bohemian Grove, all that shit.
Well, how do we know? Well, their beliefs won't. I don't know enough about it. It is fucking fascinating.
So yeah, if you were at a sort of Bohemian Grove style retreat, would you genuine question?
Yeah.
How would you want it? What kind of vibe would you want?
Terrifying. I want eyes wide shut vibe.
Yeah.
I want to.
You want that, but genuinely, this is genuine, not fucking around.
Eyes wide shut. Well, it's the most I've ever gasped in any film ever. Because remember when we watched it, I was so high.
Yeah.
And I remember just like watching it, and it's quite mesmerizing because it's quite a slow paced film anyway, and you were just like sitting there watching it. And the moment where he goes into that room, and I
all staring.
literally went. It was one of the most insane moments I've had in any film.
Yeah.
I wouldn't want that because that'd be terrifying. No, I'd want. You want it?
Yeah, but you're meant to be there. So
What's
you're one of
the
the guys.
point?
You're the one of the guys looking at Tom Cruise. You're not Tom Cruise.
Oh no,
in it.
I'm not. I'm meant to be there.
You're meant to be there.
Well, then I obviously
you're in the gang. You're freaking out Tom Cruise. You're not Tom Cruise.
I'm there going, kill him. He is an imposter. If I'm part of it, I obviously don't want it to be fucking the most harrowing thing I've ever seen. I want there to be some tea.
I don't want to be one of the big titty girls getting fucked by an old guy.
Yeah, that's a different thing, though, isn't
That's
it?
what I want.
That's another one of your desires, anyway. That would be confusing. If I saw you,
This is so upsetting.
yeah. Why do I come to these things?
I always say it's going to be different, and it never.
But it's always the same. If I'd want there to be some fucking weird shit going on.
Yeah.
Otherwise, why am I there?
Exactly.
Yeah. If
You
I
gathered us all here today. Let's fucking do some fucking mad shit.
and
Let's freak everyone out.
If it's like communion, and then we're
Yeah.
gonna play Connect 4 afterwards, so it'd be
It's
like
I get this shit at home.
I get this shit at home.
Let's
This
get some
is-
fucking mad. And I'm sure it's like probably a weird mix of rituals from those different kind of like misremembered faiths from
the belief
isn't
isn't important. It's the practice.
It's ritual.
And the ritual.
Freemasonry.
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
all
yeah.
ritual.
It's ritual.
There's nothing in the rituals of Freemasonry that is sort of tied to any belief.
Yeah,
It
yeah.
is all just
And being part of an exclusive club.
Yeah, it's literally all that. So
Yeah,
I don't find that
That's
hard to
very
believe
believable.
at all.
You can when it's like well, because private clubs, they're creepy anyway, and anything ritualistic, and particularly in the modern world, is creepy. This is anything that you just do for tradition. There's something odd about it, and then the traditions of course, tradition is by definition old, so the practices are always going to be a little bit at odds with what we just seem as normal. So then it's not the problem is like people are taking that with them with people walking around with hands like that wearing cloaks to they're murdering children.
Yeah. I think maybe I'd probably lose a bit of ability to be a successful observational comedian if I was at Bohemian Grove. I feel that's probably the as far away you can get from the average
Do you think that's what's happened to Dave Chappelle?
Not, to be honest, yeah.
Yeah.
Genuinely. I wonder if that's as far away from the average Joe as you can be is in
Bohemian Grove.
I think that's probably...
Yeah.
That's,
Full stop. Of course.
that's the...
Next question.
That's maybe the least average Joe thing you can do.
Yeah. What's the most average show thing you could do?
Don't know, that's a good question. Because it shouldn't...
I think being a cafe or an equivalent to a cafe across.
A caf.
A caf.
Yeah.
And like
Cup of tea.
And whatever
Well, it
whatever a
varies.
cafe is in Asia.
Yeah.
You know. Whatever that would be. A caf.
Yeah.
Or like a drinks a mid-morning drinks place.
A cheap eatery.
A greasy spoon in England. Whatever that is.
There's versions all over the world.
That's what it is. That's
a
your
cheap
average Joe.
eating
Yeah, yeah.
canteen type place.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
A cafe. Because as
That's
an
a good
average Joe,
shout.
everyone goes to cafes.
Yeah.
Everyone. Name a person that
Apart
doesn't.
from the Bohemian Grove guys.
Yeah, they don't go to cafes.
Because they're not average Joes.
Because they serve coffee in Bohemian Grove.
Yeah. And I think it's elitist.
And the blood of 6-year-olds.
Yeah. And to be honest, I think there's something very elitist about that.
I just think, why should they have the privilege of doing it?
Yeah.
And why not us?
Exactly. You know. I think stop gatekeeping.
Stop gatekeeping Bohemian Grove.
Guys, you got...
I'm fed up of old white men gatekeeping Bohemian Grove. Diversify Bohemian Grove.
But literally, as soon as you let other cunts in there, it'll stop losing its fun.
Imagine because you're there in your cloak and your mask and a bit, and you
like,
turn to
hell.
basis, you're like, it's like 50 more people here this year.
Got fanny packs. It's like, oh wow,
Yeah.
look at this.
This is nuts. Yeah, just like, who's that guy?
Yeah.
They've
Oh
let-
shit! Look at that fucking owl. It's like, for fuck's sake.
They've got Hugh Davis in.
Hugh Davis. A lot of Hugh Davis.
What the biff is going on with the post office?
Who is Hugh Davis?
I meant Hugh Edwards then.
Before Hugh Davis. Who's Hugh? It's not Hugh Dennis.
No,
Hugh
that was
Dennis.
just an
Hugh
accident.
Davies is the. Who's Hugh Davies? Tell me who Hugh Davies.
I don't know. I got it wrong.
No, but when you said Hugh Davies the first time,
I got
in
it
the
wrong.
main.
I didn't say it in the
who
main.
did you mean?
Did I say Hugh Edwards?
No, when we were talking about when I was doing the thing about starting a cockfight at the Golden Globes.
Yeah. And I
You
said
said-
Hugh Edwards.
You said Hugh Davies. Okay, I was wondering because I got it mixed with Alan Davies, Hugh Dennis, and I couldn't work it out.
Yeah, it was Hugh Edwards.
Yeah.
Did I say Hugh Davies?
Hugh Davies.
Did I then correct it to Hugh Edwards?
You didn't correct.
I'm pretty sure I got it right.
And then I thought you were right. No, you said Hugh Davies.
Oh, that's a disaster, yeah.
Yeah. So
I
that
said Hugh
guy
Davies.
doesn't exist, right?
Yeah, but he sounds.
And then I thought it was Greg Davies is who you meant.
Yeah, you did.
And then I
said
Greg
to you
Davies.
Edwards.
And then I said Greg Davies. He said, "Why are you bringing up Greg Davies?"
Yeah, no, I said Hugh Edwards. Then I must have said Hugh Davies. Yeah,
And
that's.
this is all on an episode that is not this episode. So
Yeah, true. We're doing a recap of something that happened 3 days ago for these guys.
Yeah.
Right. What are we talking about? That's really fun. What the biff is going on with the post office?
Yeah.
What the biff is going on with the post
All the
office?
biffing heck.
It's one of those. There's some stories that I find it hilarious to not know what's happening with. There's a few news stories that happen every now and again that are like dominating the headlines.
Yeah.
I think it's when they're so quintessentially British.
Yeah.
That
this is.
and it's when you see Toby Jones on the front cover being like, justice for the post office. You're like, what?
I mean, it's got ITV drama written all over it. Of
All
course,
over it.
they
Like-
were licking their lips when they found out that there was a sort of like
This happened
quite boring
This happened
scandal.
donkeys ago.
Yeah.
It's just a donkeys ago thing.
Apparently, it was a huge deal at the time.
So-
I didn't know anything about it. My sister told me about it a couple of years ago.
So yeah, they've done it is ITV, isn't it?
Yeah.
They've done an ITV drama about it. This happened years ago.
But then it's also quite embarrassing when an ITV drama affects policy.
Correct.
Right?
To this extent.
When it implies that Rishi Sunak saw it on TV and was like, oh, fuck.
It's really embarrassing.
Yeah, we probably should get on that.
Yeah, it's really embarrassing. You've got people locked up in prison. And then Toby Jones goes, can we... Or he just...
shit.
He's not starring in it.
Yeah.
I mean, it's one of the biggest effects I've seen from any TV show have on political discourse.
Yeah. It's really affected policy.
It's been the main headline
Yeah.
on BBC News for 5 days, 6 days.
So what happened?
So for people not in the country, the post office is our postal service. Is that all right? Well, you know as much as we do. Let's find out, because I didn't look it up, so we can find out together.
There was a system glitch.
And they said
that
there wasn't.
Accused thousands of people of fraud.
Should we read a summary just because I want to find out truly exactly what happened. What? Right. It's one of Britain's biggest miscarriages of justice, apparently. So the wrongful conviction of hundreds of post office workers due to faulty software has exploded. Whatever. More than 20 years ago, some post workers were sent to prison, and others lost their livelihood and homes. 100 postal workers were wrongly prosecuted or convicted between 1999 and 2015 for alleged false accounting, theft, and fraud because of a glitchy software system that incorrectly showed money missing from accounts. Some spent time in jail, while others went bankrupt, saw their marriages destroyed, etc. So, it's for people working at the post office. It's like if at work, suddenly the computer to my manager went, "Andrew's stealing money," and I'm like, "No, I'm not," and they went, "Computer says no," and then the police went, "Computer says no, go to jail." Can you imagine? That's fucking... I can't imagine that makes a great ITV drama.
Yeah, but also, well, I guess you can have the human. There's a lot of human story there. What I don't understand is, if I got accused of stealing and I wasn't, I would kick up a massive stink.
So I'd
be stinking out the gaff.
I think
if most people would be stinking out the gaff, you'd think. And if thousands of people are stinking out the gaff, that's when
that means you've got a stinky gaff.
you got fucking...
And quite frankly, the gaff doesn't mean that stinky.
Yeah.
So I don't. How many do they say? Hundreds of people. It's not
Was it
that many.
hundreds?
I don't think that's that many for a stinky gaff. How many?
okay.
How many to make a stinky gaff is it?
Thousands. 3,000.
Thousands. 3,000 makes a stinky gaff.
Yeah.
And never the twain shall meet.
No.
It said here, didn't it? Some postal workers were sent to conviction. Hundreds. That's not enough for a stinky gaff.
Fine.
So there'll be campaigns and stuff, and you know, people going, "What the fuck is going on?" But it took an ITV drama to really bring it to the nation's attention.
What glitch is that?
What glitch?
It is a very British scandal, isn't it? It's
How are they
everything.
not-
It's the post office. It's kind of like low stakes, but just like a mild fuckery that ruins people's lives.
Can I give you a financial crime take on it?
Please.
How, or just a common sense take on it? So there's a glitch in the system that says Barry. That feels insensitive, actually.
Of course, he's called Barry.
Timothy.
Oh wow,
Sir-
Tarquinius.
Sir Timothy III, Lord Timothy of Ellsworth. Lord Timothy of Ellsworth works at the post office, and he says, and the system flag saying, "Fuck, he's stolen $5,000," right? Police, they fire him. They call the police. They say, "This bloke's stolen $5,000," right? First thing the police will do
Stolen?
Yeah.
How do you steal from what?
From the post office.
So
Accounting.
So Lord Timothy III
Of Ellsworth.
transferred £5,000 from
To
the
his
post
account.
office's big account, which is just all the money they
Yeah,
have.
yeah.
He transferred that directly into his personal account.
He went,
He was like, £100 million
You can
to the
do
post
it.
office, and
You
you
can
just
do
go, "What if you work there?"
I could transfer. There are times I
There's
think
the big the
I've had to transfer.
the big
I've had
bank
to
pot.
transfer nearly £1 million to the police at one point. It was the most terrifying thing I've ever done.
Do you scared of an extra zero?
No, because no, $1 billion. No, because if the money's not there, the money's not there.
Yeah.
But 10 million. But if the money's
That's-
$1 billion,
I didn't want to say it.
yeah, I know. It was just,
$1 billion.
what? You mean $1 billion?
No.
Well, $1 billion.
No, that's
No,
not what
because
I mean.
there isn't. There's like at the end of the day, it will kind of come down to a person. Even if you like copy and paste it, you're still putting the sort code and the account number in. And
Yeah.
I'm transferring like 900 grand.
If you just want wrong,
If I just
wrong
accidentally
sort
did the
code.
wrong thing, and that
And
goes
someone just did a what the fuck?
literally.
And it would freak you out. You'd feel
So,
incredibly paranoid if you got $1 million.
At the
transferred.
place I worked, someone when they first at the place I worked where they first started up, what was that?
Nothing.
Oh, sorry. Someone was.
Everyone knows where you work, by the way.
No,
Surely.
but I can't keep saying it. So
Okay.
some people don't.
Yeah.
It's really bad that they do.
Yeah.
So someone was at the early stages of the company. One of the employees accidentally, they were meant to give someone a refund because as banks often do, you give them a refund for like £1,000. Accidentally refunded this person £1 million. So someone got in there, some customer.
So this was someone doing your job ish.
Someone doing a lower down job than me. Someone doing
Fucking
like
hell.
customer service.
Just went.
Just so they were like, it would have been a refund for like fraud, or it could even be like a complaint, or like it was. I think it was £1,000, so it was quite a high one anyway.
And just too many zeros.
Just too many zeros, and did £1 million. So this person for a bit had £1 million in their bank account.
Jesus Christ.
They fortunately gave it back.
Yeah.
Because
You would,
technically,
you would.
I think
Because you're an idiot. If
the
you just
laws.
take it
No,
and
but
run,
the law's kind of fuzzy in a way because it's like they've just given you this. There's like, here's your compensation. Here's £1 million, and if you then immediately withdrew it and just like spent it, you'd be like, I didn't know it was.
Yeah, I guess it would be.
Bet they'd win. The bank would win, I'm sure. But anyway.
Because if you immediately did it, I didn't know, and I just,
Yeah, whoopsie, I've spent it all on a house.
But I guess if they can trace the money to assets. But if
And
you
then
spend,
seize the
if you
assets.
spend £1 million on like experiences, so
Can't
like
take
dinner-
back experience.
So like
Immediately go up the Shard and have dinner at Marco Pierre White's restaurant
but I mean, I'm thinking bigger. You,
1 billion times. That big enough for you?
that's a lot.
Every day. I say that because that was a
You've
Virgin.
got- you've got,
I've done
like-
that exact Virgin experience, by the way. Gone up the
Really?
Shard and went to Marco Pierre White's steakhouse.
With who?
Izzy. Back in the
Really?
day. Yeah.
How was it?
I got dizzy at the top of the Shard and I felt weird.
Was it? Did it feel luxurious?
Not really. It's like
Was it expensive?
I don't know. It's a present.
Oh,
It wasn't the restaurant was expensive, I think, but
Yeah.
it was like a package version thing that you got. You don't feel
Like on Groupon.
just by being up at the top of the Shard. You don't feel posh. You've just gone up an elevator with the people at the
but it
bottom.
feel
Of the
luxurious.
Shard.
It's not. You're
The
not
Shard
looking-
does, but you don't go to the luxurious bits. The restaurant isn't in the Shard.
Where is it?
It's like down the fucking road.
Oh, in my head,
I
you're
think
right. You're right at the top of the
That's
Shard.
what I thought as
So
well.
you go up. You look.
You go
there.
up, you go back down, you get on the tube, you go to Marco Pierre White's, which admittedly is a weird thing for it to sell. It's to sell for people who don't live in London, which you
Sure.
didn't at the time. It's like, oh, we'll go and see the Shard, then we'll go to Marco Pierre
Oh, I
White's restaurant.
see. And they'll just take anything.
Exactly.
And then.
And me,
What, is
I'd
it on the
take
London
anything.
Eye?
Yeah, that sounds
No,
great.
that's where the Prime Minister works. The London Eye.
Yeah, he does. It's a Queen there as well. That was me. But no, I went up the Shard and I remember feeling really dizzy and out of it, and then I couldn't enjoy the meal.
You could not at all.
Oh, I did a bit. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's Marco Pierre White's thing.
Kid Marco Pierre White.
Why are we talking about experiences?
Well, I'm just saying, if I got £1 million,
Oh, yeah.
how long do you have before they recognise?
Immediately, £1 million. Immediately.
I'm like, how are you spending £1 million on experiences in like an hour?
Flights.
No, because they just take. You
pretty
can't
bleak.
take. You can't, but you can't take. You can take those back.
Yeah, experiences. Or consumable products.
Well, perishable products, right?
Well, no, because you can't just like buy tins of yogurt.
Well, you
can't
spend
buy-
£1 million on tomatoes and let them rot.
and then be like, well, they're all rotten now. When they come to be like, we're coming to seize your assets. What have you spent the £1 million on? Tomatoes. They're all rotten now.
Yeah, but what would they do then? Then are you £1 million in debt?
Yeah, but then you can. Well,
Like,
you can.
in the legal case, I can
Yeah, they
understand
can't seize assets, but you could still. Then you probably go to jail.
what, for spending £1 million on tomatoes?
Well, no, for
Is that a
stealing £1
crime?
million from. Oh, is this the one where they give? Are we?
So they've given you £1 million. This is that accidentally.
Yeah.
And I don't know how long before they recognise.
I don't know whether it's legal or. I'm sure they would. The lawyers would
then-
find a way to say that you've done something illegal. Because if it was, they'd be like, you were expecting £1,000 in compensation. You've got £1 million. You spent it on tomatoes. I think that's like they'd find a way to show you've done something illegal.
The government would give them compensation, or you're in debt. You then have to.
What? The
Well,
government-
I'm just walking through the legal case.
Keep walking, please. Don't let me
Walk!
stop. Never let me stop you walk. Never let anyone bring down your
the
walk.
line.
Yeah.
Walk on the wild side.
Walk this way.
No,
fine.
so you got you got £1 million come straight in.
Yeah.
You immediately
Spend
realise
on
what's
tomatoes.
happened. You spend it on it's something incredibly perishable. You buy,
Incredibly perishable tomatoes, yeah.
I reckon so. Just huge amounts of something.
Yogurt, sour cream. Once opened. If you buy yogurt and you open the lid,
Well, you can open all of
they're
them.
fucked.
Well, you do open all of them.
Yeah, tomatoes, they actually last for quite long.
So they're like, with the £1 million back, you go, I've spent it.
Yeah.
And then they go, right, we're going to take you to court. And
Yeah.
they're like, they're trying to work out the assets. If
And
they
you
can't,
plead guilty.
but then you have to, would you then have to make up that money?
Yeah, there's...
And then you just be in debt.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know how those things work.
I'm sure the government would pay for it, and then you'd be in debt to the government. Would probably be that.
It depends what kind of case.
Because then it's incompetence.
It depends what kind of case it is, whether it's...
It's
if
got
it's
an ITV drama
That sounds
written
civil.
all over.
What
This
the-
is Toby Jones just licking his
Yeah.
lips when he hears
Man
about
versus
this.
tomato. The
It wouldn't be
the
man versus tomato.
Come on for it. The £1 million tomato man.
That is what it would be
The £1
called.
million tomato man. Yeah.
Toby Jones. And it would be Toby Jones.
Toby Jones and that woman who's in. Like,
Toby Jones loves playing real people, doesn't he?
Oh, he has to.
No.
I told
Do
you
you
I
know
saw
what?
him in Clapham.
Do you know what I'm annoyed at? Toby Jones has not got this Barry Keoghan glow up. He's never had his 15 minutes in the sun.
He didn't. Has he ever done?
Do you know what I mean?
He's done
there's never
some
been
Hollywood.
like,
He's never-
oh, Toby.
Toby hasn't really broken America though, has he?
Yeah.
Has he done any Hollywood?
I haven't seen Toby Jones wearing like a cut-off gilet type thing with clear plastic surgery.
Yeah, and like a skin fade haircut.
He's on the cover of fucking Vogue.
Fucking like a tomato. I remember I saw him in Clapham when I was really hungover.
What
And
do
he
you
nearly
think-
made me faint.
Oh yeah, a similar thing to being when you saw the Shard for the first time.
Yeah.
It's a very similar feeling.
Very
of
Shard
just-
related.
a feeling of just seeing a huge
Magnificent British landmarks.
kind of being dwarfed by British.
I don't know, because that is an interesting question I think of, because if it was we talk about when we discussed, who was it? Someone's PA suing them for
De Niro.
So when
Bobby.
suing him for $2 million, and we were discussing the legality / morality of whether it's whether the damages that he was in his behaviour, were they really worth £2 million? That was the question. But
Yeah.
we were saying, but because he's worth $2 million, therefore
Should she be allowed to live in the Hamptons in like a mansion off the fact that De Niro,
Is it more important?
De Niro was rude to her?
Is it more important? Should there be a specific value attached to the crime, or is it relative to how much money the person owns, basically? So I think that for someone who could be sued for like £1 million who's just an average Joe, how does that work if they're found guilty? Is it prison instead? The government won't pay. The government don't just like...
I think the government would. It's because it's a bank.
There's a lawyer.
They always help out banks.
There's a lawyer who's messaged me...
The banks would have insurance type.
The banks would have insurance.
You can't have like
the banks would insurance. Yes.
A lowly
insurance. But
for
I don't know.
insurance for gross negligence.
I don't know if that's.
But then a lowly employee fucking up.
Let's not be too rude to Lord Elmsworth.
This is like the fucking
Lord Elmsworth.
This is the bottom level. Yeah, he's fallen way. He calls himself.
Don't call him a
that.
dungmonger.
He calls himself that. That's his RuneScape name.
Lord Elmsworth. What's his actual name? Barry. Wow. Fucking hell.
Yeah.
And it's Barry Keoghan. It's him going.
Well, he's in the drama as well.
Who's he playing?
He's playing the. He's playing the
he
guy.
can play the tomato man. I'm gonna
No,
buy
Jones is
buy
the
all the tomatoes.
No, he's the guy who works at the bank.
Like, what? Fuck. Fuck, no. I've done it wrong.
Wow, Barry Keoghan is one of my favourite actors.
What a performance. As the $1 million fuck up, man. What a guy.
I wouldn't mind seeing Barry Keoghan and Andrew Scott in the same room. Just...
Have you ever?
Well, yeah, the Golden Globes, actually. I might have seen them in the same... I might have seen them together.
Didn't see them in the same shot.
Maybe. What, you saying that he's keeps going to the toilet and changing outfits?
It's like the sitcom
and
trope
the Mission
of...
Impossible mask.
How do they put it on? I've forgotten. I need to watch it.
It, like, lasers down.
Does it? Oh, no, they get in something, don't they? Oh, no, there is an... Oh, shit, sorry. It's an actual mask.
It's like a three...
It's an actual mask. They put it over. Yeah. No. They chip down on a thing. The mask is created via lasers.
Yeah.
There's like a head thing. There's like a bust.
Yeah.
And then it chisels.
There's like there's a block of head.
Yeah, and then it chisels away. And then they actually have a real, like an actual mask.
Yeah.
Never address height issues, but we've done enough on the Mission Impossible mask. Yeah, it's like the sitcom trope of having two dates in one night thing. Where that's what Barry / Andrew Scott.
Oh yeah, so it's quite Seinfeldy.
But go on the Barry and Andrew acting out the same thing. Yeah. You got to sell it if you're gonna do it. No, do Barry and Andrew in the same.
Well, because they're acting. I guess Barry's is much more still.
But they both make the boldest choice. Yeah, but.
Is it, how bold is Barry's choice if he just does his face?
Am I a coward?
But Barry's not making crazy choices. He's just existing.
No, he's making kind. I think he's making.
Is he?
He's
just fucking. No, his face just looks like that. His face. You're implying a choice.
Look at his right. Barry's choices are subtly crazy. Sure. Andrew's are the opposite of subtly crazy. Andrew's are. Andrew, am I a coward? Sherlock. What are you doing here? I was on my plan. I'm going to talk really quietly. Fucking hate the guy.
To be or not to be? That is the question.
Am I a coward? Look up a compilation of Macbeth, people who have played Macbeth at the National Theatre or something.
Hamlet, I think.
Hamlet, that's the one, yeah, sorry.
Hamnet.
It's grabbing out. Look it up, and it's just wait for Andrew Scott to come in. He goes, am I a coward? Let's just speak like a human. So he makes the boldest choice possible in the boldest possible way.
Yeah.
Barry does make bold choices, but very subtly, because his face, he just like goes like that for the whole time.
That's his face.
That's his face.
That's what he does. That's him.
Yeah.
That's not a choice.
Yeah, I know exactly.
He's desperately trying to make that so he wishes he had a choice.
Which is why he needs to do a different character.
He wishes he had a choice.
Which he's not acting yet. You know? He's yet to act. But yes.
You've got anything else to say?
No.
Thanks very much for listening, guys. We'll see you next week. Moochers, love us. Bye.